Every course in this series teaches you to step into an identity, and the identity comes first. Practitioner Tools taught the right tool, right mind identity, being deliberate about what you reach for and when. Running a coaching business taught the operator identity, being the person who steers the strategic and sales and operations layer of your practice. This course teaches the identity that comes before either of those. The founder, the person who builds the operational foundation a coaching practice runs on. You cannot operate a practice you have not founded, and you cannot reach for the right tools without somewhere to keep them. Series pattern matters because the identity is the discipline. Each course names the identity in its first module so you can step into it before the content starts asking you to make decisions. Practitioner Tools, right tool, right mind. Running a coaching business, coach as operator. Setting up your practice, coach as founder. These are not branding lines. They are reading instructions. The identity tells you what kind of attention to bring to the lessons in front of you. Founder attention is different from operator attention. Operator attention is different from tool selection attention. The identity ahead of the content is what keeps the content from becoming someone else's work you're trying to copy. Founder before operator is the sequence, and skipping it is the most common founding mistake I see. The operator runs the strategic layer, the sales layer, the day-to-day ops layer of a coaching practice. The founder builds the layer those three run on. You cannot run a practice you have not founded. Same way you cannot run a restaurant whose kitchen has not been built. When people skip the founder phase and try to operate first, the symptoms show up 6 months later as bookkeeping built around personal checking account deposits, contracts written without a real entity behind them, and tax bills that arrive as surprises. The cleanup costs more than the foundation would have. Here is the identity shift the course depends on. Where you started. A coach who is starting a business sounds modest and reasonable. It also leaves the founding decisions feeling like errands you do on the side while the real work is coaching. Where you have to arrive, a founder who builds the operational foundation a coaching practice runs on, sounds bigger, and it is. The identity shift is what makes the work feel like it belongs to you instead of like a tax on doing what you love. The founder builds. The coach who built the foundation then coaches inside it. Sequence and identity together carry the discipline that the calendar alone never will. The same coaching mindset you already hold for clients applies here and applies inward. ICF core competency. 2 is mindset. The embodied way of being a coach takes into a session. Curious, present, non-judgmental, fully focused on what is in front of you. That same mindset is what the founder needs to hold with the founding work. Curious about what you don't know yet. Present with the decisions on the table instead of avoiding them. Non-judgmental about not having done this before. The founder brings discernment to the work before hiring out the execution. The coaching mindset is what makes founding feel like coaching practice instead of like homework. 5 decisions are what founding actually is, and none of them are coaching decisions. Entity, what legal vehicle holds the practice, banking plus books, where money lives and how it gets tracked. Payment infrastructure, how clients pay you. Pros, who owns which regulated layer of advice. The triad, tax, retirement, insurance, held together because they intersect. None of those are decisions you make as a coach. All of them have to be made anyway and made well before the practice runs on a foundation that holds up over years instead of months. The whole rest of the course is depth on each of those 5, in the order that respects how they depend on each other. Sam is the kind of email that taught me to lead with the framework instead of the answer. Year 4 in his coaching practice. Annual revenue around $130,000. The email is one sentence. I think I need to be an S-Corp. His instinct is in the right neighborhood. At that revenue level, an S-Corp election is on the table and possibly the right move. But the answer cannot be just yes or just no. A yes or no answer skips work that has to be sequenced before the election even gets filed. Sam's email is a request for a single decision. The reply has to be the framework that produces decisions in the right order. 3 decisions come in order before the S-Corp question even gets asked. First, is the entity formed at all? S-Corp election under Form 2553 sits on top of an LLC or a corporation, so without one, there's nothing to elect onto. Second, has reasonable salary been computed for the founder's state and role? The IRS reasonable salary requirement is what makes or breaks the S-Corp tax benefit, and its state-specific and role-specific work. Third, is a CPA in the seat who has actually filed S-Corp returns for service businesses like coaching, not just for retailers or contractors. The founder asks those 3 first. Then the S-Corp question gets answered with real inputs. Sit with one question before the next video. Do you think of yourself as a founder or as a coach who happens to need some paperwork done? The honest difference between those 2 answers determines whether the next 90 days of founding work are productive or avoidant. Founder posture treats the decisions as the work, makes them in order, and gets to a practice that runs on a foundation. Coach who needs paperwork posture treats them as errands, defers them, and discovers in year 3 that the foundation was never built. Pick the answer that produces the next 90 days you want. The course assumes the founder answer from here on.